Hello and welcome to In Depth. I'm your host, Frank Razan Pereira. Our topic today is the United Nations peacekeeping force that completed 70 years this week. In this period, over 1 million men and women have served under the UN flag in at least 70 peacekeeping operations. Today, 96,000 uniformed personnel from 124 countries serve under the blue flag. Peacekeeping in the early years was limited to maintaining ceasefires and stabilizing situations. Today, they are called upon to not only maintain peace and security, but also protect civilians, disarm combatants, and support elections in conflict zones, and also restore the rule of law. Our episode today tries to understand the multi-dimensional role of the peacekeepers and India's contribution to the organization over the years. Well, in the 7 decades of its existence, the UN peacekeeping mission has faced all kinds of difficult situations. India has also played an important role in United Nations' effort to establish peace.
The Second World War was the biggest man-made tragedy. Over 5.5 crore people were killed in a war that lasted 6 years from 1939 to 1945. The tragedy continued even after the war ended, with many people dying of poverty and hunger. But despite the war, superpowers like the United States and its allies kept changing geographical boundaries of countries, continuing the struggle between countries, fomenting rebellions. At the center of these struggles were the developing countries of the Third World. Countries that were emerging from colonial rule, nations that were formed due to the war.
This is a force which acts on behalf of the United Nations Security Council. Its mandate and its authority is obtained from the United Nations. It's a collective force where contribution is made by several countries. However, there is a single commander under which all participating countries function. As the word goes, peacekeeping, they've been created to restore peace amongst nations where for some reason or the other societies have broken up, nations have broken up, nations have divided, rebels have got up, they are trying to overthrow the elected government.
While a need was felt to mediate between the warring countries through peacekeeping forces, no decision was taken in the 1945 San Francisco Conference that drafted the United Nations Charter. However, the formation of Israel in the Middle East changed the global political scene drastically in the next years. The United Nations launched its first peacekeeping mission in 1948. On the 29th of May 1948, this mission was sent to the newly created State of Israel, where a conflict between the Israelis and the Arab states over the creation of Israel had reached a ceasefire. Since then, UN peacekeeping forces have taken part in at least 71 peace missions in 120 countries.
The United Nations was set up after World War II in order to prevent, as they said, succeeding generations from the scourge of war, so that they don't have to undergo war all over again. But that is a utopian concept. It kept on happening, wars kept on happening, and there were many conflicts in various parts of the country, but in the world, particularly in West Asia. And at that time, because of the Cold War between the American bloc and the Soviet bloc, they couldn't come to an agreement how to deal with it. But the United Nations Secretariat and the Secretary General were faced with the task of dealing with situations.
Since the formation of the force, the UN peacekeepers have worked in very tough situations. Hundreds of them have been killed by rebels or in terrorist attacks. The role of peacekeepers has also been questioned several times. In 2017, the United Nations received 62 allegations of sexual exploitation against its peacekeepers. No Indians were involved in these incidents. In 2016, the UN received 104 such complaints. However, such allegations do not take away the contributions of the peace armies. Their role is incomparable in situations where they act as a shield of peace between conflicting countries and groups. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the United Nations peacekeeping forces have resolved many international disputes and restored peace in conflict-riddled regions. Established in 1948, the peacekeeping forces have played a crucial role in supervising peace processes between many warring nations, especially Israel and the Arab states and North and South Korea after the Korean War ended. Here's a look at the history of the peacekeeping forces. The United Nations Charter makes the Security Council responsible for maintaining international peace and security. It also seeks collective measures to prevent and remove threats to peace. The United Nations peacekeeping forces were formed to do this task of maintaining peace in armed conflict. Mandated by the Security Council, the UN peacekeeping forces are authorized to engage in conflicts between states and countries torn by civil strife. However, restoring peace in a conflict zone takes place only after both warring sides agree to it.
As the word goes, peacekeeping, they've been created to restore peace amongst nations where for some reason or the other societies have broken up, nations have broken up, nations have divided, rebels have got up, they are trying to overthrow the elected government, and United Nations has considered it obligatory to intervene with a view to limit the loss to lives, protect children, protect women, protect elders, and to restore peace and tranquility.
Operations of the UN Peacekeeping Force fall within the purview of the Secretary General of the United Nations and the Secretariat. The United Nations operates peacekeeping forces in two ways. The first is to deploy unarmed or lightly armed military personnel from a number of countries. These forces are sent to areas where the warring parties need a neutral party to observe the peace process. Armed troops of the peacekeeping forces are also deployed in conflict zones. Their role is to maintain peace in the conflict-torn regions. United Nations Peacekeeping Force was established in 1948. In its first mission, the United Nations Truce Supervision Organization was sent to the newly created State of Israel to supervise ceasefire between the Israelis and the Arab states. The United Nations Emergency Force was sent to the Suez Crisis in 1956 or the Second Arab-Israeli War. At the end of the Korean War, the UN forces remained along the south side of a demilitarized zone until 1967, when American and South Korean forces took over. In 1974, the United Nations deployed United Nations Disengagement Observer Force at the Golan Heights to supervise the agreed disengagement of the Israeli and Syrian forces. In 1978, after Israel's attack on Lebanon, the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, or UNIFIL, was established to confirm Israeli withdrawal from Lebanon and restore international peace and security.
Because of the Cold War between the American bloc and the Soviet bloc, they couldn't come to an agreement how to deal with it. But the United Nations Secretariat and the Secretary General were faced with the task of dealing with situations. So that is how in the time in 1948, when that situation came about, they requested people like India and other countries which were willing, Canada, Australia, Denmark, Sweden, countries were prepared to provide military observers, unarmed military observers, to go, after an agreement had been reached, to go and monitor the ceasefire agreement.
UN peacekeeping forces also played an important role in Congo's struggle for independence in 1960. 20,000 peacekeeping troops were deployed in this area to restore peace in the war zone. Other than restoring peace, the peacekeeping forces also monitor disputed international borders. Since its formation in 1948, the UN peacekeeping forces have successfully brought peace to regions hit by conflict and violence. But in the process, hundreds of soldiers have lost their lives in these peacekeeping operations. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television. Well, the United Nations is seen as a platform that can play an important role in establishing international peace and security. In such a situation, the demand for UN peacekeepers has continued to grow in peace missions across the world. Let's find out which are the countries where the UN peacekeepers are working.
The United Nations deploys peacekeepers in areas that face turbulence and war. Currently, over 110,000 military, police and civilian staff serve in 14 peacekeeping missions. The budget of the United Nations peace campaign is only half the cost of the global military expenditure. After 2008, it has been reduced by 17% per army squad. The United Nations has been consistently trying to create a conducive environment by running such campaigns in troubled areas. By 2020, it wants to double the number of women soldiers and police in the peacekeeping squad.
And again, there is a peace building and peacekeeping. Eventually, wherever the peacekeepers are succeeding, then the peacekeeping mission automatically turns itself into a peace builders mission. The resources that are required, the financial assets that are needed are of a different variety, which by and large is not what is being given to them. Hence, peacekeeping versus peace building becomes very difficult. So, India has been insisting that from the planning stage, appropriate number of representatives be involved. We also provided till date 15 top rate commanders for peacekeeping missions across the globe.
Since 1948, the UN started 71 missions, out of which 14 are still in existence. The need for the rest has ended. The present 14 missions are in Haiti, Western Sahara, Central African Republic, Mali, Democratic Republic of Congo, Darfur, Golan, Cyprus, Lebanon, Abyei, Kosovo, Southern Sudan, India, Pakistan and Middle East. Some of these disputes are long-standing. For instance, the United Nations appointed peace observers in the dispute between India and Pakistan in 1949, who are active even today.
Peacekeepers, they would be under the command of the man who is in charge of that operation. Either the force commander, the military man, or there is in some cases, there is a civilian special representative of the head of the mission who has to take the responsibility for it. So it is that is they report to the UN Secretary General. And the UN Secretary General reports to the Security Council.
At present, the maximum number of peacekeepers have been deployed in Congo, where the political situation has been extremely alarming for the past decade. About 18,000 soldiers of the United Nations are working for peace. India has been a supporter of peace since the beginning, and therefore India has always backed the UN campaigns. India is third in terms of deployment of troops in the United Nations at present. In 2017, the highest number of 8,326 soldiers deployed are from Ethiopia, 7,672 from Bangladesh, 7,471 are Indians, 6,146 from Rwanda, 7,161 soldiers of Pakistan and 5,131 soldiers of Nepal. After this, there is no country which has sent 4,000 troops to UN peacekeeping mission. This data clearly states that South Asian countries are playing a vital role in the United Nations mission.
Then the peacekeeping mission automatically turns itself into a peace builders mission. The resources that are required, the financial assets that are needed are of a different variety, which by and large is not what is being given to them. Hence, peacekeeping versus peace building becomes very difficult. So, India has been insisting.
Though the United Nations is trying to maintain peace across the world, global powers don't show any interest in its campaign. The peace mission have three principles: consensus of the troubled parties, fairness and self-defense. The goal of peace mission is not limited to just the employment of soldiers, but establishing an efficient political system, emphasis on talks and importance of human rights and laws. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, India was a founding member of the United Nations. As a founding member, India strongly supports the purposes and principles of the UN and has made significant contributions in implementing the goals of the Charter. The country has lost the highest number of its peacekeepers in various UN peacekeeping operations in the last 70 years.
Post-independence in 1947, Indian policymakers were faced with the question as to what should be India's role in the world politics. As a large nation, India had its own huge internal security matters. But in 1948, when the question turned to forming a global peacekeeping forces, India became the most active supporter of the decision. India was among the original members of the United Nations, taking part in its operations all across the world in various capacities.
I think we have contributed almost 200,000 peacekeepers, military and police over the years. You see, I didn't mention it in my talk, but it's a very important one. For instance, we've been sending police for many years now, because police started going for peacekeeping later. I think in about the late 80s or something like that, late 1980s, 1990. तब से शुरू हुआ the use of police, because they also help, because that is to, once they go there, to help the local to re-establish their control and all that in internal conflicts, not in interstate conflict. Interstate conflict police are not required, but in internal conflict police. And one of the major contributions India has made in that context is we were the first ones to send an all-woman police contingent to Liberia.
India is currently the third largest contributor of military and police personnel to UN peacekeeping. Around 7,000 personnel are deployed at various missions across the world. Apart from this, nearly 800 police personnel are part of the UN mission. They are now deployed in Abyei, Cyprus, Congo, Haiti, Lebanon, the Middle East, South Sudan and Western Sahara. According to the UN, of the 3,737 peacekeepers who died since 1948, 163 were from India, the highest from any troop contributing country.
Till date, India has got itself involved in 49 peacekeeping missions, which is the highest that any nation has ever been into. Till date, we have made a contribution of 1,95,000 troops, which also includes several thousand police people, because for policing purposes. We have provided 15 force commanders, and on several occasions our enemies, for example the Pakistanis as well as the Chinese, have operated under the command of the Indian commander. There have been very few instances where the Chinese and the Indians have been in the same contingent, but there have been any number of instances where the Pakistanis and the Indian forces acted together in concert, shoulder to shoulder, and they've displayed remarkable love and affection for each other.
UN peacekeepers are often referred to as blue helmets because of their headgear. Peacekeeping forces can include soldiers, police officers and civilian personnel. They can be deployed both to implement and monitor peacekeeping agreements. They can undertake a wide spectrum of other activities like assistance after a natural disaster, overseeing power-sharing agreements, electoral oversight, and economic and social development. But some military institutions are not willing to join these missions. The US is eager to reduce mission sizes to save money for its own foreign aid budget. The goal of the US is to reduce its overall contribution in the UN peacekeeping budget from 28% to 25%. This would reduce the overall budget of the peace campaign, which could mean that India will need to play a more important role in this organization. With inputs from Leena Sharma, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, UN peacekeeping was born at a time when Cold War rivalries were at their peak and frequently paralyzed the Security Council. More than 1 million men and women served under the UN flag since 1948. Let's look at the structure of UN peacekeeping mission and how it is funded globally.
United Nations peacekeepers are drawn from many countries, cultures, languages and behavior. But when they serve under the United Nations, they are united by a commitment to maintain world peace and security. They are expected to be professional and disciplined. They can come from the military, police or civilians.
So in order to create the conditions for political negotiations, this peacekeepers were deployed, unarmed military observers were deployed after a ceasefire agreement. That means peacekeeping was the use of the military not to fight, but to prevent fighting. So it is an extraordinary sort of an art, you see. So it was basically something which there was no combat involved. It was just to be there and make sure that people do not continue fighting.
At present, most of the soldiers are from African and Asian countries. But Western nations have also begun to join the mission. Women peacekeepers also play a pivotal role. They act as role models in the local environment, inspiring women and girls in often male-dominated societies to push for their own rights. About 20% of the total workforce of UN peacekeepers consist of women workers. 13,000 UN peacekeepers are from 90 countries and are responsible for maintaining peace.
Since this is a force that has been mandated by United Nations Security Council, the funding for these, the salaries for these, the perks from these come from the United Nations. If you notice, I had said earlier that India has been one of the largest contributors to peacekeeping funds since 1949. As per the UN Charter, all countries contribute to a smaller extent and to a bigger extent depending on their resources, depending on their convictions, depending on their capabilities.
The Security Council has the primary responsibility under the United Nations Charter to maintain international peace and security. It is for the Security Council to determine when and where a UN peacekeeping operation should be deployed. The UNSC decides maintenance, expansion and financial management of the peacekeeping operations. Every member state is legally obligated to pay their respective share towards peacekeeping. This is in accordance with the provisions of Article 17 of the Charter of the United Nations. 5 permanent members of the UNSC give more funds as they hold more importance. The United Nations also gives money to send peacekeepers to some member countries. The UN owed India $92 million for troops, which it paid in 2018.
Actually, you see, शुरू में जब पीस कीपिंग करते थे, काफ़ी डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज़ भी हिस्सा लेते थे. इनफैक्ट उस वक्त काफ़ी यूरोपियन कंट्रीज़ के भी कंट्रीब्यूशंस थे. फ्रांस, ब्रिटेन, अमेरिकन ऑब्जर्वर्स और इनके हॉस्पिटल वाले थे, काफ़ी कंट्रीज़ के लिए. अब करीब पिछले मेरे ख्याल से करीब 20 साल से अनफॉर्चुनेटली जो डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज़ हैं वो यूएन पीस कीपिंग से हट गए हैं.
The approved budget for UN peacekeeping operations for 2017-18 is $6.8 billion, which was lower than the previous budget. The 2017-18 budget represents an average of 7.5% reduction on the approved budget for 2016-17. The top 10 providers of assessed contributions to UN peacekeeping operations for 2017 are United States with 28.47%, China with 10.25%, Japan with 9.68%, Germany with 6.39%, France with 6.28%, the United Kingdom with 5.77%, the Russian Federation with 3.99%, Italy with 3.75%, Canada with 2.92% and Spain with 2.44%. Many countries have also voluntarily made additional resources available to support UN peacekeeping efforts on a non-reimbursable basis in the form of transportation, supplies, personnel and financial contributions above and beyond their assessed share of peacekeeping costs. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, that's it from me on this edition of In Depth, but we'll be back again same time on Monday with a focus on another subject. You can also watch today's as well as previous episodes of In Depth on YouTube and send us your feedback and suggestions. Thank you for your time.